Today on DNVR Buffs Live, what are the top 5 storylines for the team entering camp? Should the Buffs make a late addition via the portal? A game of over-under and much more. Let's go. Buff Nation,
let's go.
Welcome into the Xfinity studio. It is Friday. It's the last day of July, bro. The last, I guess, full month has passed. Is it officially football season now? Are we calling it?
No. And then what's going to happen is I think we're like a week away, maybe 5 days away from the Hall of Fame game.
Mm-hmm.
And someone's going to try to tell me that's the official start of football season. Also wrong.
I need games.
Yep. But not the Hall of Fame game.
No, it does not count. Even the first Broncos preseason game, it's like, yeah, first quarter, and then it's all right.
Yeah, I like a Broncos preseason game. Only because I know every player on the roster, so then I'm invested throughout, but it'll be football season soon.
Soon enough, he says. Yes, old school show today. Scotty will be back next week. Today, we are playing a game of over-under. We're going to discuss the first week of Browns training camp. Shedeur Sanders versus Deshaun Watson. Sean, another pick today. Terrible.
A really bad pick, too.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
He's not good. He hasn't been good in a really long time.
He hasn't been good, I think, since I've worked here, which is going on 4 or 5 years now.
I don't think he's been good since, COVID.
I agree.
It's crazy that we're still even talking about him.
Well, when you're on the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history, I guess this is what happens.
That's fair.
Should the Buffs dip back into the transfer portal? There was a late transfer portal edition today that we will get into and discuss. You're already laughing.
It's funny.
Do you know how this happened?
Funny sport. Dismissal?
He got an injunction.
Nice.
Yep.
Let's get this Ezra injunction or TRO, whatever we're trying to get. Let's get this done.
You know what? I'm right there with you, but unfortunately, the powers that be just have to make it difficult for us. Also, we will discuss Georgia Tech making a late addition to their coaching staff. Did you see that?
I saw that, yep.
But we start today with camp storylines. There's a lot to discuss with this team, even though it's more of a, I guess, quieter offseason than we're used to here. Still tons of storylines, and once, the pads hit, we're starting to put the pads on and we're on the grass. People aren't going to be able to say enough things about Colorado football.
Facts.
Where do we start? We're going to rank the top 5 storylines. We can kind of discuss a little bit before if you want, or maybe we just go right in. You have something on your mind for that?
No, I'm actually excited for the conversation. I think there's a lot of different ways we can go with it.
All right. Well, I think the natural place to start is Julian. Obviously, he's going to make the list.
Are we starting at 1? Are we laying out?
We're kind of laying it out.
All right, and then we can maybe go from 5 to 1.
For sure. Julian Lewis, obviously his development, being with Brennan, Marion, can he make a big enough jump to be the guy who we all think he can be? 1 year removed after I guess up and down is putting it best, freshman year with everything going on last season. Finally has a quarterback coach this year, a new offensive coordinator. We'll see if we can run the ball. That itself is a storyline too.
I don't think it's a storyline that can be answered in camp.
I agree. Well, with that then, offensive line. Reshuffling along the offensive line is definitely going to be a storyline. Coach Prime, Brennan, Marion, both have stamped this offensive line, saying different things, but basically the same thing. I think Coach said he feels that they're about 8 deep at that position. And just with Colorado, I put out a question on Twitter today, what is your biggest question entering the offseason? And someone replied, CU has allowed 35 plus sacks every year since 2023. Will that finally end this year?
It should.
God willing.
But the reason for that is less about the offensive line and more about the play calling.
and like the overall scheme and design of the offense. I agree.
But also just they've called so many pass plays over the last 3 years that
also fair.
The defense is not honest. They're not sitting back saying, okay, let's make sure that it's not a run before we pin our ears back and go after this quarterback. No, they're just going. Mm-hmm. And so I think that Brennan Marion just calling runs consistently will make a huge difference.
For sure. I guess if we go position by position, wide receivers, is JoJo and DeAndre Moore, are they going to be able to contribute right away? If not, how much are we going to get from them in, through camp and into week 1 potentially?
Yeah, I think the health of those guys is a big storyline. Mm-hmm. And, people can say they're good to go. They said they're good. I got to see it.
Totally.
I talk about this all the time in NFL conversations about training camp, but it's just like every day of training camp that you don't participate in, to me, it impacts your ceiling of what kind of season you can have.
For sure.
And that might sound dramatic, but I've just seen it over and over again. The guy who starts training camp halfway in or whatever is playing catch up the whole camp, and then it feels like into the season. So I'm hoping that both of those guys are just full go first day of practice. But if not, I think that will be a story that we're talking about a lot. I mean, remember Alton McCaskill?
Yep.
We heard, he's fully recovered right when he transferred. Mm-hmm. And then he starts and he's in like a yellow jersey. And then all of a sudden we're talking, okay, not week 1, but week 2. And then it ends up being week 4. And then he plays in week 4 and he's not himself. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, just saying it's a story that you have to stick with.
Yeah, it's a very fair point, I think, because, one of the most important parts of training camp is the installs and the development of the offense, right? And if you're just not on the field, not able to really participate in those, I think it's easy to make the conclusion, you're just probably not going to be as involved early as, some would believe, it's never just you're 100% full go, like you're ready to go. It's not like the video game at all. Like you got to go through installs. Coaches got to feel comfortable putting you in those positions, on and on and on. I guess tight end, Zach Atkins. Are we actually going to use him? Is he going to emerge as one of the best tight ends in the conference? Maybe something lower on the list, but
yeah, I would throw out there Chris Marv and just his style. Mm-hmm. What are we going to see? What packages are they using? What is the base defense look like? We know that they have 3 startable linebackers. How often are they putting 3 linebackers on the field, et cetera?
Yep. With that, I mean, I think really the biggest position battle is nickel too. I think that in itself is a storyline. Are we going to have another true freshman starter week 1 this season with, Braylon Mojo or Preston Ashley coming in and starting out of the nickel week 1? Is it Justin Eaglin? Is it a bit of a redemption arc for him after a tough spring? Or I don't know, someone else we aren't even mentioning, a Jaja Boyd, Jason Stokes, a Jaden Hardy, whoever it may be. The new defense is a good one too. A sneaky one, I think. Coach stamped Elliott Arnold at the end of spring football, and we just haven't really talked much about the specialist since then. But is he ready and good to go? Like, is he as good as Coach Prime thinks he's going to be right out the gate? Like, this is a redshirt freshman kicker. That's a big spot.
Yeah, I've only heard great things.
Love it.
So, reminds me of kind of what I was hearing about Cole Becker during this part of his career.
Yep. And he ended up being pretty damn good.
Yeah. Very good.
Just thinking through the position groups, I think that's what comes to mind right now. Coaching staff shakeup too. Lots of new coaches.
I'll have an eye on Coach Prime's style.
I agree.
Is he changing things up at all? Obviously, we know he looked a lot more energized in spring. But, I felt like there was more. He was more intense in years 1 and 2. And obviously that, I think, related to his health. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking forward to seeing that intensity come back on the field.
Totally.
And remember, he's talking about how he's been hands-on with everything this offseason. Is he going to be even more hands-on at practice? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised.
For sure. Just trying to rack my brain. I think we've kind of set the table here nicely.
Yeah.
You wanted to start at the top?
No, let's start at 5.
Starting at 5 then. All that being said, the defense has to, like, as a whole, the Chris Marv thing, I think, is a big storyline for this team. I don't know if it's 5, but it's on this list
5.
in my opinion. Okay.
That's at least what I was thinking is 5.
Okay. Love it.
So just, I don't know, Chris Marv's new defense.
Yep. Again, going back to when he was at Virginia Tech, it was a lot more multiple, right? He did have a really good corner. I think it was it Mansour Delane who was at Virginia Tech that first year?
I can't remember.
It was someone like that, a recent top pick, but kind of built that defense around him. They played a lot more zone than we've seen from Colorado recently. That in and of itself is a style shift. I put that question out on Twitter. Someone asked about the crossing route, something that really plagued this team under Robert Livingston. But in my opinion, that was just to their propensity and how heavy they wanted to play in man.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're going to be seeing that as much this year.
I don't either. I think that's a great point, and I think that I don't know if this will bear itself out in camp, but people have talked a lot about, at least from what I've heard, that Chris Marv wants to be really aggressive. But we might get some peeks at how aggressive he wants to be in camp.
For sure. And also, as you mentioned, the linebackers too. How often are we just going to go like a traditional 4-3 or maybe bring in a third safety? I'm excited to see how he utilizes the personnel and maybe the changes that we've seen. Because again, with Coach Liv, it was like just 4-2-5, line it up, spot the ball, and the chips fall where they may kind of thing.
I forgot. Ezra has to be in this top 5.
He does. That's
I don't know where we want to put him. My
near the top.
Initial gut was like 3.
At least, I think.
Yeah.
You could argue it's the most important storyline heading into camp for sure.
Yeah, you really could.
We'll get to that.
Let's put maybe the nickel here.
Yes, that needs to be up there. Again, is it a true freshman? Is it one of these transfers we haven't really talked about? Does Boo move back for whatever reason?
Yeah.
There's a lot to get into there, but I think, in going with number 5 as well, too, I think that it might be a peek into what Chris Marv actually wants to, at least early on, achieve versus Georgia Tech. That could be telling who wins that position battle.
Agreed.
Number 3, offensive line.
Yeah.
Are they as advertised or as...
Yeah. I would more say, like, how does the offensive line shake out?
Like the starters, top 5?
Yeah, I think you've got a full competition at right tackle. We don't necessarily know what's going on at the guard positions yet. So I would say the offensive line, what's the word we're looking for? Lineup or starting 5.
Rebuilt offensive line, I guess. Or
yeah,
starting 5, whatever it may be. You mentioned the guards. If you had to pick right now your projections for opening day, left and right guard, who you got?
I don't know.
Not even going to make a pick?
I mean, like, Chauncey and Yo-Yo?
I would say Chauncey and Jose at this point.
Okay. You think Yo-Yo's not starting?
I mean, again, no disrespect to him. I just think Chauncey's going to... I hope at least Chauncey has that, like...
breakout.
Kind of, blow up that we all think is possible. And he just completely locks down one of the starting positions. I think that would say a lot about, your mentality and running the ball, at least early on in the season with Chauncey out there. And then Jose, just a guy that Coach Marion trusts.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
So there's the top 3. We will get to number 1 and number 2, but let's take our first break and shout out our friends over at Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR, just trying to get us places as quickly and efficiently as possible, and no better brand to do it with than our friends over at Toyota. They got 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, including the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. Look, you don't have to compromise if you want to get a hybrid with Toyota. You can get the truck with the hybrid. They've got you set to go. Or maybe you just want something ready to conquer all the trails, go up into the mountains out here when you're visiting for those CU games this fall. Get yourself in that all-new 2026 Tacoma, or maybe the return of the iconic 2026 Land Cruiser as well. Plus, they got the Grand Highlander and RAV4s as well, so you can kind of do what you need to do up in the mountains and make it down to the city A-OK as well. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and is the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Also, shout out to our oldish friends at Winks Credit Union. You remember Ent Credit Union from last season. Well, they've rebranded. They are now Wings Credit Union. It's the same crew, still the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos. Just a new name, but look, they got those fresh Broncos branded debit cards still, and they've got tons of perks for Broncos country as well. I'm planning on hitting up Mile High at least a couple times this year. I've got to be ready with Wings and banking like a Bronco before that, because with Wings Credit Union, you can save 10% at Empower Field. You can win tickets to a home game or score exclusive Broncos merch. They gave away over 3,400 tickets to Broncos games the last 2 seasons. So if you want to bank like a Bronco, visit wingsco.com/DNVR to open an account. Insured by NCUA, membership required. Account requires associated Wings Broncos debit card. Shout out Wings Credit Union. All right. First 3 on the top 5, if you could pull up the graphic, Dion. Number 3 is the starting 5 on the O-line. 4 is who's going to play nickel. And 5, Chris Marv's new defense. 1 and 2, is it Ezra and Julian?
It is. The order is interesting, though.
What are you thinking?
It's interesting because if, what would it be, a week from today? If a week from today, we hear that Ezra is locked in, cleared, ready to go. Then that story kind of ends right there. And then it carries through a few days of how's he looking, all this stuff.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get it for some stupid reason, then it becomes a storyline throughout camp. How are you going to replace him with just the guys you have left on the roster? So it's kind of dependent. I think I would put it at 1.
I think so too,
because it's going to drive conversation regardless. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Julian, the quarterback, is always going to be a huge story. I just don't know if there's as much that we will get on a day-to-day basis. Like when we're talking, like in terms of like the Ezra thing is pretty black and white.
Right.
You get him or you don't.
Yeah.
And it's a big story both ways. Mm-hmm. Julian, that we're going to hear, the coaches are going to tell us it much. We have a feeling that what's actually filmed and posted is going to be cut back on a bit this year. So I'm going Ezra.
I think I completely agree with you. Starting with Ezra, as you mentioned, either way, whether the TRO injunction, waiver, whatever you want to call it, gets approved or denied, the first 2 weeks, like Ezra's name is just going to be a headline when it comes to this team, right?
Yeah.
And God forbid he becomes ineligible. It's how do you replace him? Who can emerge as a starter in his wake, right? Like that's an open starter position all of a sudden going into camp. And then if he does get approved, which we of course hope happens, it's how quickly does he acclimate? Hopefully he doesn't miss too much. But it does end right there. With Julian too, like for number 2, I think this is the right move because I feel like we got enough of a peak during spring football, and the buzz that we heard was optimistic enough that it really just is about in the game. Is he going to, have the intangibles that Coach Prime was looking for last year that really we didn't know were an issue, I guess, until the games actually started, right?
Yep.
I don't think those will be an issue under Julian. It's just something to watch. But again, it's just kind of like it'll be a storyline all year with Julian. Like he'll get better every week. And so going into the season, it just may not be much of an update. But yeah, the Ezra thing, in my opinion, has to be the top thing, top storyline for the Buffs entering camp.
Yeah, I like this list. And I think the list is kind of encouraging.
For sure.
You have like a silly NCAA eligibility dispute. Obviously, the quarterback's always going to be there. And then you have like two big question marks that have to do with the roster. But it's really more about who you're picking. And we feel pretty good about the choices that are available rather than like, well, who's winning this starting job and who's winning that starting job. And like you could go through, the whole roster in some years where it's like, well, the only person who's really solidified is this guy.
Right.
We probably could have done something with the running backs, but it's just such a fluid rotation that I don't think, same thing with wide receivers. Like we talked a lot about the third wide receiver. That's not a real thing.
Right.
That's so fluid on a game-to-game basis in terms of how many reps a certain guy is going to get based on matchup. So there is no real third wide receiver. The same way that there isn't really a 1-2 running back.
That's fair. I mean, especially in the last few years too, with them getting rid of the spring transfer portal. Like this would be the first time we'd see a lot of players, in a Buffs uniform, like working out with the team, this time the last 2-3 years, right? Because we don't have that, I feel like there's just naturally fewer questions about the roster, naturally fewer like true position battles going on too. And yeah, it's again, looking just at the list, like there could be a lot worse things to, have as a storyline going into the season. Like Texas Tech's wondering about, is Will Hammond healthy? Is our starting quarterback healthy? Baylor's wondering, can our quarterback take care of the football consistently? With K-State is like, is Avery going to make a big enough jump so that he can like save his career here at K-State pretty much, right? Like there's a lot worse things around the conference that would immediately come to mind. And, I guess it's a product of a quiet offseason. I mean, Colorado really did execute pretty well, I think, this offseason. And the quiet nature of it, I think, reflects that a little bit.
Agreed.
All right, good stuff. And how great would it be if we go through camp and nothing else emerges that like really breaks this up too, right?
I mean, we're going to have like a Grand Theft Auto story or something.
Oh, man, the good old days.
We'll have Dan Lebatard talking about the players having guns in their locker or whatever the fuck that was about.
Coaches headed off to meet with the Saudi Arabian princes and all that stuff too.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
We'll find out, man. We will find out. All right. Well, speaking of Ezra and the transfer portal, there was a notable, I guess, approval of eligibility earlier today. That is former Temple defensive lineman Sekou Kromah. He was granted an injunction and has been made eligible. With that, RK, he's being allowed to enter the transfer portal. It's July 31st.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's been able to enter the transfer portal since like January.
So weird.
So is this guy worth adding? I'll tell you right now, I think he played some JUCO. He was, suing because of the Diego Pavia rule that got reversed in the offseason. He had 4.5 TFLs and 3 sacks and a pass broken up last year in 7 games at Temple. Why did he only play 7 games? Because he had a big left shoulder injury, sustained a tear in his right shoulder after overcompensating for that damaged left shoulder, and then suffered an oblique strain that forced him out of that eighth game.
Jeez.
Last year. Yeah.
You got beat up.
That being said, though, you could do worse. I mean, there's obviously not much at this point right now out of the transfer portal. Last year, his overall defensive grade via PFF was 73.9. Okay. Not terrible.
No,
Pass rush grade of 77. Tackling grade needs some work, but again, there was some production there with 4.5 TFLs and 3 sacks and a pass broken up last year.
I mean, it's someone that I would look at if you don't get Ezra.
He's listed at defensive tackle, listed at 6'3", 280. So about the same mold as Ezra as well.
Yeah.
It's just, late additions in the transfer portal. I guess, Colorado's had some luck. Juju Mitchell, the first year. Who else did we get? I feel like we got a couple.
Simeon Price
was one. Yep. He ended up being a pretty key piece before he went down last year.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
I think so too.
From what I remember.
I mean, I think that in a world, and how funny would it be to have to go after a guy who did get the injunction because your guy didn't get the injunction. But in the event that something, goes wrong with the Ezra case, I think you have to be prepared to exhaust all options, or just take a look at what your options are to try and replace him.
Totally. You're right. That would be a strange twist of irony if, Ezra does happen to be ineligible and your number one option happens to be a guy who gets an injunction. But I think there's been some positive news on that front. Again, with different states and different courts, it's a little different, right? Jose Wheeler, the Baylor defensive lineman from Indiana, is someone who we talked about, who he was going through the same thing. Well, he was just granted a TRO, a temporary restraining order, that allows him, I guess, to be eligible for now, but he does have his actual injunction hearing set for August 11th. So positive news for him. For whatever that's worth, I guess. I think Ezra had his TRO denied, which his was approved.
No, it was the TRO with the distinction on it that the other team didn't, or the other side didn't get to respond. I forget what ex parte.
Oh, that's right.
That's what was denied.
This stuff is so confusing, but I guess overall it's positive news. Meanwhile, on the other side, remember when we talked about Yakiri Walker?
Yes.
Starting at center for Baylor? Well,
wait, I thought it was Memphis. Oh, no.
He came from Memphis.
You're right.
Well, he's been told he's ineligible for this year after applying for his 5th year of eligibility, or I guess 6th year.
And why?
For him. No idea. They just said that's it. You played enough, I guess.
All right.
So, yeah, Baylor gets good news, I guess, on their biggest transfer portal addition, Hosea Wheeler, and then they lose a candidate to start at center, which I guess, as we talked about, maybe not the worst thing for them.
Yeah. If they don't have, with all due respect, if they don't have a better option, their whole season is in trouble.
Well, so I saw a Baylor beat writer, I think, put out that now with that move declaring him ineligible, they're just going to slide over one of those brothers, Colton Siraki, into center. So one of their most experienced returners. But again, if you didn't listen to the Baylor show when we did matchups a couple of weeks ago, they have, I think, 3 new open spots. It's those 2 brothers on the offensive line who are returning. They need new starters all over the line.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Anyways, that's kind of the latest update on, TRO's court in the NCAA at this point in time.
Great.
So
I love talking about that.
Do you think this is the last season we talk about TROs and ex parte?
Nope.
No?
No, because now people learned that you can just sue the NCAA and get anything you want.
But at what point does it stop? Because this year it's last year you let everyone do it. It's
it's never going to stop it. Maybe there becomes more precedent for how they can deny it.
Because they're going through it again this offseason?
Yeah. It's never ending.
I feel like if they keep changing the rules, it's always going to be something.
Totally. Yeah. Pretty much how I feel about it, but I guess we'll find out. Shout out to Kyle M. 11 months of membership. Let's go, man.
Got to be one of the first members.
Has to be.
Got to be one of the first to get to their 1-year mark. Shout out Kyle M.
All right. We will talk Shedeur and a couple more things. Game of over-under on the other side of this break. Shout out to our friends over at Colorado Soccer Association. The CSA is the official hub for 65-plus soccer clubs across the great state of Colorado, coming off a World Cup on home soil and in Canada and Mexico. Let's keep the momentum going, man. It's on y'all to get the kids in the game with the Colorado Soccer Association. Kids can kick off their soccer journey as early as age 3. Whether you're playing just to have fun, competing at a high level, or exploring a career in soccer, CSA has something for everyone, not just youth players, but adult players, coaches, referees, and families who want to get involved in the game as well. With the Denver Summit kind of bringing, professional women's soccer here to Colorado. It's open for anyone who is looking to get into the great game. Also, if you need a spot to watch those Summit games, make sure you hit them up. We're going to be having watch parties here at the DNVR bar all season long. So if you want to get involved, visit coloradosoccer.org to find a club near you and be part of the future of the game. Shout out Colorado Soccer Association and also the good homies over at Taco Bell. I know what you're thinking right now. It's Friday night, about to go out, have a great night, maybe a couple of drinks involved. But what do you do after all of that? Not many places open late this time. Well, our friends at Taco Bell have you covered. You can hit up that delicious Cantina chicken menu at any time, whether it's late night, lunchtime, or dinner time. They got you covered. Hit them up for that Cantina chicken Mexican pizza. We've had it a couple times. It is delicious, crispy tortilla shells layered with savory, slow roasted chicken, fresh pico, and that zesty jalapeno citrus salsa. Taco Bell's got the best sauces in the game. They've been changing it up and have a new couple of salsas that you should try out as well. Make sure you pair those with the legendary nacho fries. They're boldly seasoned and taken to the next level with warm, melty nacho cheese sauce as well. It isn't just lunch, it's a flavor rebellion. Live Moss with our friends over at Taco Bell. All right. We got a couple of things. Just let me know when you're ready for that video, Dion. So I guess Chris Marv went on the morning run with Chico and Neely earlier today.
Nice.
Shout out to those guys. But, I think this is a little bit of a look into maybe some of the changes we could expect and why this defense is going to be different this year. Obviously, he is the DC, but also the linebackers coach, right? Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, that like work ethic we saw from the team ahead of 2024, those linebackers are kind of bringing that to the table ahead of this season. So when we have it ready, we'll show you guys what Chris Marv had to say. But again, it's just a different mentality for this team, it feels like, too.
And Chris Marv has an intensity about him, man, that I like in my defensive coordinator. Now, I also really appreciated Robert Livingston for kind of being the
players coach,
the cool guy,
right.
However you want to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like there's something to be said about your defensive coordinator having an intensity about him that then relates to the players and kind of gets them more intense going into game day. Like there were a couple games last year I just felt like the team didn't have the fire to start it that they needed to.
Totally. Whether that was partly done because of Coach Prime's sickness or whatever as well. But here it is. Here's Chris Marv on the morning run talking about his linebackers.
I think we got some guys who are hungry, who have seen a lot of ball. Well, the thing that I'm excited about is that even though they've seen a lot of ball, so I'm talking about Gideon, I'm talking about Tyler, and I'm talking about Leonga, and specifically, they've seen a lot of ball, have played a lot of snaps. Mm-hmm. They don't approach the game that way. And what I mean by that is that they ask for extra help. Over the period of our vacation, Gideon actually reached out to me and wanted to get on Zoom and talk through some plays, some questions that he had during the summer, man. That to me, that reeks of a guy who really that smells of a guy who really wants to be excellent in his craft, right? And so we talk about defensively, that's one of our standards, to operate with excellence, right? So maximizing your internal inputs so you can maximize your external potential for impact, right? So that is what I see with him. With T. Dollar, man, that's what I call Tyler Martinez. Very, very intelligent, hyper productive at his other places, man. But is so humble, hungry, man, and so I really love that about them. I think if you cut on the tape, all those dudes can play. It's about playing within the framework and doing it to the best of their abilities. And we got some young cats in the room and some other young brothers who are working and pushing them three. But so we're hungry to see where those guys will end up after camp is done.
All right, thoughts?
I just keep coming back to the fact that I think this is going to be a running conference this year. Every year it feels like the Big 12 switches back and forth from now it's a quarterback conference, now it's a running back conference, now it's a quarterback conference. I think we're back on a running back year. Mm-hmm. I think that means we're going to see a lot of 3 linebacker sets from this defense. And I feel comfortable with that.
Me too.
Especially, we just talked about the nickel being kind of a question mark. Well, in a down where you're confident that there's going to be a run, I'd much just rather have Tyler Martinez out there than whoever you end up starting at nickel, because he's a a playmaker, you know, a guy who's going to make it really difficult for you to run the ball on them. So given the fact that linebacker is one of the stronger rooms, given the fact that the defensive coordinator is a linebackers coach, and given the fact that I think we're going to be more run heavy in the conference this year, I think you're going to see a lot of 3.
I love that. Tyler Martinez, again, on the podium during spring football, like, it's almost like everyone's trying to say, don't forget about this guy. Like, this is a real football player here. He might be one of the top 11, 10 players on this defense, right? When we did that, like, I put him in the top 10 because I comfortably feel that as well. And this is, I think, the great advantage of having, you know, Chris Marv as your DC is, again, he showed the ability to be so adaptable at Virginia Tech. Even mid-game, just switching up his personnel, going for 4-3-4 or 4-2-5, whatever it may be, bringing, you know, 3-2-6, whatever he had to do to make it work on the defensive side of the ball. And you just look at the week 1 matchup with Justice Haynes, this team, Georgia Tech, and how much they want to run the football, a new, you know, first-time starter in college football, and Alberto Mendoza. Why not start off with 3 linebackers? Almost dare them. Like, you want to run into this front 7 here and see if you can stop. Yeah,
and I mean, it's interesting with Mendoza because it feels like all of the tape that exists out there of him is him running RPO. And how confident is he going to be to pull it and throw it, knowing who he has on his hip? And maybe, you know, still just the intelligence of those linebackers can help against RPO, getting into those passing lanes. Like, yeah, that was my big takeaway from that. Obviously, Gideon reaching out for extra help. I mean, it lines up with everything we've heard about him and said about him.
He's going to have an L on his jersey.
He's going to have an L on his jersey. He's going to ball. He's a baller.
Yep.
And he wants to be prepared. Like, I've said it a million times on this show, but the guys who do that stuff gain such an edge in college football.
Yep.
Everyone in the pros, and I'm exaggerating, almost everyone in the pros puts the work in.
Yeah.
You know, it's your job. From sun up to sundown, what you're supposed to do is prepare for a football game. College football players, they have so much other stuff. They have school on their plate. They have their social life on their plate. They're just breaking the nest in a lot of cases. And there's so many players who don't put in the work that the guys who do, it's just so evident on the field every single week. And I mean, one of the best possible examples of this was Travis Hunter.
Yep.
Now, he also happened to be the most talented player on the field, and that's why he has a sweet trophy sitting on his mantle at home. Actually, like 7 sweet trophies sitting on. But he gained such an advantage going into every game over his opponents because he knew what he was looking at, knew what he was doing. And that, if I could choose one attribute to have in every player on the team, it would be that. The guys who want to watch the film, the guys who want to put in the work, the guys who want to make sure they know exactly what they're doing on every play.
It's just about loving the process, loving the game, right?
Yep.
I think that's what it all boils down to. I mean, you mentioned Travis, but Shedeur was the same type of player too, and I think that's why those two were on such a wavelength where it was just a look across the field, and they already knew what they were trying to do, or a simple hand signal could change the whole route and all that for them as well too, right? When you have a linebacker that can do that, it's almost like they're seeing the play before it happens type of stuff. I saw a clip recently. I think it might have been at ACC Media Days. We had Dabo Sweeney. He was being asked about like who were some of the like toughest players you ever had to coach against or whatever, right? And he brought up when, again, this is Clemson, when they had to play, I think, Boston College with Luke Kuechly at middle linebacker, right?
Yeah.
And how this guy watched so much film and he was just calling the stuff you heard about in the NFL, he was doing that in college, racking up 20 plus tackles a game. And it was enough sometimes to just be to neutralize an offense.
Well, and in the pros, you know, Peyton Manning's out there and sees that he knows what he's doing. So then he has like codes that he can.
Right.
In college, the quarterback can't do that.
Of course, yeah.
So
of course,
they line up and Kuechly's out there just screaming like toss right, and the quarterback's just like, damn. Like, I guess I can move it left, but he's gonna know that what I did.
Yep.
You know, like if all of a sudden he gets up there and he's like Louis, then Kuechly's just like toss left,
flipping it. They're flipping it. Yeah, totally.
So that's funny to imagine these quarterbacks being out there just with their hands tied, like, all right, well, he got us.
Yep. Well, let's do our Xfinity X-Factor for this week, and just make it the top 3 linebackers or Tyler Martinez, Chris Marv? Who should it be?
Tyler Martinez.
Let's do it.
I just think he's actually had a big week on this show.
Yeah.
But I think on the whole, he hasn't been talked about enough. And maybe you can pull it up. But Chris Marv mentioned the production that he had pre-injury at New Mexico State and his previous stop. But just such a productive player, and at the very least provides this defense depth that they have not had at that position previously. Now I think he is going to be someone who's going to contribute on every game, regardless of whether or not he's filling in for someone due to injury. But just a guy who brings so much in terms of his brain and his instincts. I think he's gonna be another guy who's kind of a fan favorite of sorts.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, obviously only played 4 games last year. Played the last full season in 2024. 96 tackles, 2.5 TFLs, 1 sack. Also had a pass defense, but in those 4 games from last year, 26 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 interception, and 3 passes broken up. This dude was on pace for over or close to 100 tackles.
Over 100 tackles, right?
He was, but with more production too in terms of passes broken up. He had a pick. To me, that just shows the player was getting better and getting smarter. Exactly what Coach Marv was talking about in terms of watching the film and just dedicating yourself to the process. If you go to the grades from PFF, he had an 82 run defense grade and an 87 tackling grade in those first 4 games. He had a decent coverage game in the first 2 games of last year too. So again, you talk about maybe the questions at the nickel position. If you get some, above average play from a pass coverage sense from one of these linebackers, like it totally opens up the possibility of starting in a 4-3, especially week 1 with Georgia Tech on the field.
Yeah. And I'll never forget when Nate Landman was here and, on passing downs, they kind of just let him roam the middle. Mm-hmm. And he's obviously he doesn't have special speed or ability to break on the ball, but he knew what was going on and he could diagnose things so quickly when the ball was snapped that he could just get himself into places and be big and force bad throws or force the quarterback to look off of that area. Like, that's a defense that also had Christian Gonzalez lined up and Mekhi Blackman on another side. Like, they were super talented and they were just playing cover 1 hole with Nate Landman just roaming the middle.
I remember, was it the A&M game? He had like a pick late, I think, that almost gave him a chance to win the game, something like that.
Yeah, they had a lot of chances to win that game.
I was gonna say, don't talk about it.
We'll let it go.
The whole game was just chances to win the game.
But that was the Xfinity X-Factor for this week. Shout out to Tyler Martinez. Just one of the players I'm most excited about watching, or at least hearing about, once we get back to football next week. Shout out Xfinity. Imagine that. All right. Can you pull up the QB tracker, Dion? First week of Cleveland Browns camp is in the books. This is from today. It's not the full week one that they put out yet, but this is just emblematic of what's been going on at Browns camp. Shedeur just more efficient. I guess for whatever reason, I've seen touchdowns on Twitter of videos. I guess that might just be on air or 7-on-7, whatever it might be.
Or one-on-ones, maybe. Something
like that. But I've seen a couple nice throws from Shedeur to deep down the field as well.
Yep.
I think Gabriel had a decent day yesterday for whatever it's worth, but obviously this is a 2-man battle. Yeah.
I think Shedeur is completing over 70% of his passes in these 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an indicator that he's starting to feel like himself out there on an NFL field. I think, do you remember actually the first camp when we got the numbers from Shedeur? It's like through 9 practices, like what he had done. And it was like, he's completing like 80% of his passes, like 24 touchdowns to 0 interceptions.
It looked like his Colorado stat line through like 6 games or whatever.
It did. And that's when we, were even more confident, like, oh yeah, this accuracy thing is going to translate for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's starting to translate. Like last year, his counting stats in terms of when he played don't look very good, and that's what all the people who wanted to track from him are pointing to. But I don't think he quite felt comfortable yet.
Yeah.
from what I'm seeing in these numbers now, I think he's starting to feel comfortable again.
I think he's just got a much better supporting cast this year too.
Yeah.
It's hard to be as bad as they were on the offensive line, 2 years in a row. I think that they will be better there. And the receiving core, I think, is going to be better as well. And I think it helps too that you bring in those two young guys, Boston and Concepcion, and it's like two targets he can kind of like, along with Fannin, like guys that he can just like grow with. You know what I mean? Like they're all kind of figuring out together. And, I think to have a solid like young nucleus like that, if they do it right, I think this could be something for the Browns to really build off of. So,
yeah, Northside Roger says the only negative past 2 days, Shedeur hasn't thrown a TD. I mean, if you look at that list, only one person threw a TD today, and I think yesterday only one person threw a TD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because Sean Payton talked about this yesterday.
Okay,
they did red zone work.
Yeah,
and he said we almost never do red zone this early in camp, and so just from that, I'm thinking that probably the Browns haven't done red zone. And that's the hard thing about trying to make, a story out of training camp stats.
Yeah.
Is you have no idea what they were working on.
Right.
They could be working on third and shorts, or they could be working on their screen game, and then everyone's numbers are going to be inflated in terms of completion percentage. I don't know if they've gotten down in the red zone and got to work yet, but based on the fact that very few touchdowns are being thrown, I think they're just doing basic install stuff, not even probably moving the ball.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Maybe they're doing one move the ball period a day or something like that. So just something to keep in mind. One day you're going to see, some quarterback threw 7 touchdowns because they were in the red zone for half an hour.
It's important to remember that it's a brand new coaching staff this year, and it's like installs might be slightly extended, compared to the last few years when Stefanski was the coach for, what was he there, 3-4 years or whatever, right? Like It's a totally different type of setting, even with the new quarterbacks. We'll see how next week goes. It's a solid start for Shedeur. I wonder what their preseason deal is. So they got...
I forgot that I care about 2 teams' preseasons now.
They got the Bears. That is 2 weeks from tomorrow when the Browns have their first preseason game. Then they have the Bills the week after that, and then the Patriots.
Yeah. Broncos, all 3 preseason games are on Friday nights. And I'm so happy about it.
Yeah, that's lit.
Yes, it's very lit because usually they're on Saturdays, like in the middle of the day, and it's just like, okay, well, I get to spend my weekend watching third stringers. So yeah, I'm very hype about Friday night Broncos preseason games.
Add me to the list as well, man. All right, moving on. We have a game of over-under.
Let's go.
We got some Buff-centered ones. We got some Big 12 ones. We got some college football ones. I've got 7 of these. Ready?
Let's do it.
The number is 4.5. Over under. Colorado running backs to have a carry in week 1.
Over.
Really?
Yep.
How many then?
Okay.
Or name
Kalen, Damian, Jaquale, Richard Young. Let me see who else is on here.
Micah would get you to 5. So all 5 of those?
Yeah.
All right.
And maybe Bryce Hicks.
Let's go. Come on. I'm interested to see Brendan Marion's approach to this. I went back and, just kind of looking at the stats from last year from Sac State. Week 1 was not good for them at all. They actually, I think, ran the ball 24 times for 24 yards, which I'm sure Brendan Marion was livid about. But they did, have, I think, 5 players touch the ball. It was a bit of like a feeling out, I guess, thing. I didn't watch the game. I just went and looked at the stats. But
yeah, I mean, think about the fact that you can have 2 running backs on the field at a time means you're doubling the rotation. So if you'd normally have 3, now you could have 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love for them to come out of camp saying Damian Henderson is RB1 or Richard Young is RB1 and, DeKalen is starting at the flanker position, whatever you want to call it. I doubt that's going to happen. I think that's going to be a hot hand thing, and I think that they're going to probably get these guys prepared for week 1 by saying everyone's going to have an opportunity in this game.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think if I had to pick, I would go over as well, although just 3 or 4 wouldn't shock me necessarily. Again, just the kind of like playoff lineup type thing, from a few years ago with TCU. I think that's a kind of a standard thing for some week 1 teams. You just worry about week 1, and especially with Weber State coming up on the other side of that, that might be kind of the game where maybe you open it up a bit more. You get more players involved. You maybe even play, 20, 30 more players.
I know. I was going to say I might take over 7.5 in Weber State.
Totally.
You're right. Week 1 is a scary time for coaches, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they really only want to put guys out there that they trust. Hopefully they trust a bunch of these backs.
It'd be a great sign for the team, I think, if you get 5-6 running backs who are just in the game, touching the football in week 1, for sure.
I just got nervous.
It's about that time.
Just got butterflies thinking about them running the ball.
The number is 6.5. Georgia Tech wins this season. Here's the schedule if you want to take a look at it. Of course, they start with Colorado. Ooh. They play Tennessee week 2, Mercer week 3, Stanford at Stanford, though, week 4.
2-2.
Off on the first week of October, and then their ACC schedule. Duke at VT.
2-4.
BC.
3-4.
At Pitt.
3-5.
Louisville at home.
3-6.
At Clemson.
3-7.
Wake.
4-7.
At Georgia.
4-8.
All right. Wow. Shoes on the other foot.
Yeah.
I think 6.5 is a well set line for them. Slight propensity to the over. Help us out.
Which ones did I say were losses that you think are wins?
You had them losing to
Duke, Virginia Tech.
That could be Duke. Duke doesn't have Mensa no more.
Okay. I had them losing to Pitt. Wait, I can't remember what I did with Boston College. I think I gave them Boston College.
Like Clemson, how good is Clemson actually going to be this year?
Better than them.
You think so? For real?
Yes.
I mean, they were clearly better. I don't know if they played last year, but
yeah, I think I respect Brent Key. I just think last year was a lightning in a bottle year in terms of the talent all lining up and their age all lining up.
Mm-hmm.
The year after that's always really tough.
I think especially if they have, obviously we hope this doesn't happen. If they beat Colorado, I think they're on track for over 6.5.
Brady says, "Don't say 4-8 when this is supposed to be a big game for us." I don't think that they could be 0-12 and it's still a big game for us.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, I mean,
it's going to make people take credit away from us later, but whatever.
Unless you're in a CFP conversation, I don't really think it matters when it comes to strength of schedule.
I don't either. But I mean, we saw it happen with TCU that year.
Yeah, true.
Didn't change the way I felt on that day.
It still doesn't change the way I feel that team went 5-7. Do not care. All right. Next one. The number is 1.5. Seasons until Brennan Marion is a Power 4 head coach.
Under.
Next year then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I want to say over because that means maybe we get 2 years with him.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think that if he does what we think he's going to do this year, he's going to be the number one guy. It's
exactly that. I think that he does what we think he can do, and he hits the ceiling with that. Say this team wins 8 to 10 games. He's in the conversation for, what is it, the Broyles Award?
Mm-hmm. That was one of Scotty's predictions.
That was one of Scotty's predictions, and that happens. You're absolutely on the short list for damn near every job that comes open.
Yeah, and I mean, he has everything that you could want in a head coach. He's young, he's fiery, he's got personality, he recruits.
He's done it before.
He has a fun offense that'll get donors excited. I mean, it's a crazy to me that he's not a Power 4 head coach right now.
Fair enough, totally.
And really, when he took the Sacramento State job, he was supposed to be, or at least in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Which, where are we? What is the Pac-12's designation?
What do you mean?
Is it now P4 and G6?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have no idea where that. They are just so anonymous that I don't know.
The P4, the
They're
G5, and the Pac-12?
I guess so, yeah. They're just the odd one out. I mean, they're very clearly more G5 or 6 than Power 4, or getting back to Power 5. It's not even close, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Boise State doesn't do that much heavy lifting.
No, yeah, I think that, again, if Brennan Marion does what we think he's going to do, I think he gets a big job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree.
One great year could change your life.
It's his motto for a reason. The number's 12.5.
And this is like the generational wealth contract year for him.
Oh, of course.
You know, you get one job like that and your family's pretty much set.
This is like the job that his name, his entire reputation for the next 10 plus years could come down to, right?
Yeah.
Next one, the number's 12.5. DJ Lagway INTs this year. He threw 14 last year.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
1 year older, more mature, and I think that Baylor is going to have such a focus on trying to get him to protect the football that he is safer with it.
I'm going to go under as well. I don't think for the same reasons, though. I think if he even gets close to that number, he might not have a chance to go over. They just might say, all right, this was a failed experiment.
Yeah,
If
totally.
he's that bad.
And maybe, I don't know, sometimes having less pressure on you isn't necessarily the best thing. Like you get a little more loose with it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're setting up to have Draylon Miller and Lewis Brown be their top 2 targets.
Colorado State.
Mm-hmm. A couple more to go. 1.5. Nebraska wins in November this year. Nebraska under Matt Rule is 2-10 in the month of November. We're going into year 4. Can they get 2 wins? I will pull up their
Tell me the
schedule. But this is how they have just, it's all collapsed for them the last few seasons. It's the month of November.
Do you know how excited I am for Nebraska fans to turn on Matt Rule?
Oh,
After just, donning him the savior.
the amount of,
Like the way they turned on Dylan Raiola
yes.
actually is so funny, and it actually was for a while until now. I actually feel bad for Dylan Raiola.
Eh.
But, I guess you made your bed by going to that shithole. It's going to be hilarious because they are going to turn on him this year.
The amount of times I saw tweets like, there's no way he even makes it to year 3. Talking about Coach Prime making it to year 3. And if Matt Rule gets fired or just leaves before this Prime era is done, there's so much out there on Twitter.
I know.
Nebraska's November schedule is at Illinois, at Rutgers, Ohio State, at Iowa.
So they get 1. That is under 1.5.
The Rutgers game on the road?
That's the one they get.
I don't think they have a chance to not win a game again.
Yes. Let me see the full schedule.
I mean, this is brutal, bro. The first 3.
Start with the weakest schedule of all time.
First 4 really are really easy.
This is classic Nebraska. They're going to start 5-0 and go 0-7 down the stretch, or 1-6.
Could you imagine? This is a very backloaded schedule. They don't play a single ranked team until mid-October, and then it's Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, and Iowa, with Illinois in there too.
Yeah, going Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Illinois back to back to back to back is
brutal,
crazy.
Brutal.
Their team is going to be so banged up after those games.
Real quick, we are headed to overtime. If you're watching the show on your television, we will wrap up over at the website, ddnvr.com. The new number is 2.5 here. Quarterback says take a snap for Texas Tech this season.
I like your questions today.
Thank you.
Under.
Okay.
It'll just be those 2 guys.
All right.
I think. I mean, do we even know who the third guy is?
I don't think they know who the third guy is.
Maybe
bro.
it's like a 4-star freshman or something.
Well, Kavion Bryant isn't showing up till after the season. They have Will Hammond. They've got Kirk Francis, and then Lloyd Jones III. He attempted 5 passes last year.
Oh.
This actually might have hit the over last year.
Did.
Number of quarterbacks to take a snap.
Yeah. Maybe in blowouts and stuff. I wasn't thinking about that. All right, I'll take the over.
I will also take the over. Look at Jerry. He knows who Lloyd Jones III is.
LJ3?
Yeah. Remember this show when he enters a game, meaningless, week 2 game when they play, Sam Houston? Double-digit loss teams in the Big 12. The number is just 0.5. So actually, since Colorado and the Pac-12 teams joined this conference over was this going on year 3 now? There's only been one team to have double-digit losses. Do you know who that is? That is
Oklahoma
exactly
State
it.
Last year, 1-11.
It's exactly it.
Good call, Dion.
Is there someone that you think is just so screwed that they are, at best, a 2-win team? We're talking like Iowa State here. We're talking, some people would say Colorado.
Yeah.
Baylor,
I'm
potentially.
a little bit worried about Kansas.
Kansas is a good one, too.
I could see the sky falling for them.
That one might be like just slides off a cliff at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you guys hated that quarterback, Jalen Daniels, like he was good enough to just like make plays and find a few throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they got close to replacing that.
That is fair. I also, when we looked through their team, when we did steal a player, that was very concerning to be like, who do we even want?
Yeah. I don't even remember who we took.
I can't remember. I think they had a receiver.
Some receiver. Yeah.
But even then, it was like he'd be the 8th receiver at Colorado or something like that.
Yeah.
I will say over. So that give me an Iowa State, Kansas, or I'm telling you, I think Baylor has a chance to really stink it up.
Nice. That was fun. Good segment.
Thank you.
It's not as boring as some people would say.
Yeah. Well, tough news for them because we're about to hit our stride. Ginter says, if you guys could get back one player who left after last year, who would it be? We actually answered this yesterday.
Did you? What'd you guys say?
Just after. I'm sorry. So a player who left the team last year. I thought we were talking about. Yeah.
It's probably London or Alex. Probably London.
Yeah, I mean the quote unquote best one was Tawfiq.
Yeah, but I think we replaced it pretty easily.
I totally agree.
Which actually Unk got crushed for saying, and we'll see once the field lines up. But I think he might have been right on that one.
He was.
We got to see it. We got to see it.
Look, man, safety is a devalued position, good or bad, no matter how you see it. If you're going to ask for top dollar at that position, you better be about it.
Yeah.
Like, best out there in terms of the country about it.
Yeah. Well, and then if you just can't afford to pay that, you can just replace it.
Totally. At this point in time, I think Ryan Staub actually might be. You're down to 3 quarterbacks.
Bro, there's probably like 4 Ryan Staubs in the portal right now.
We didn't get one, though. I mean, I guess you got Isaac, but 3 quarterbacks is extremely light.
I don't care. That doesn't help the team at all.
Fair enough. But I don't know.
I just brought back like a up-and-coming young pass rusher, and you brought me a 3rd-string quarterback?
Couldn't need him. I don't know. Who else would you want?
It's been a long week. You might just... need to take the weekend and just think about what you've done here.
I guess. I mean, I just looked through everyone. Maybe Sam Okunlola.
Fell off really hard.
I mean, Seat's the best player.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't blame anyone for taking Seat.
That's kind of it.
Oh, you would probably want
but after I saw the players they brought in, it doesn't hurt as much.
They're fine there, yeah.
So, all right. That was a fun week. I don't want to say this is the end of the offseason. We're not quite there, but we're almost there.
We are almost there.
We'll see you guys next week. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs, baby.
We all silly like the mayor.